Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. Today we have some brand new information. We have a new leak for the upcoming set in Pokemon TCG Pocket. So, little funny story, the Pokemon Presents was earlier today, this morning, and everyone, myself included, expected the new trailer for the new TCG Pocket set, and we got nothing. Nothing at all. They did not even mention TCG Pocket at all. And then within 30 minutes after that Presents finished, on Reddit, someone had posted the trailer, the leaked trailer. They posted it like it was a screen recording, it looked like, from the official Pokemon Italian account. So the trailer is in Italian and all of these cards are in Italian, at least the leaks. I feel like we'll probably get this official trailer tomorrow or something like that. So we'll probably get the full details for the cards, tomorrow. But the set is based on Johto, which a lot of people were expecting. And Johto is my absolute favorite set, or rather generation of Pokemon of all time. So I'm extremely excited about this as well. And it does look like it's another kind of big set. So we get 2 packs, one with Ho-Oh, one with Lugia. There's a Lugia EX, there's a Ho-Oh EX, there's a lot of cool stuff. So let's talk about this. Now, important to note, when I talk about these cards, they are translations of the cards, and I found them on Reddit. So it's possible that these are not 100% accurate, but it looks like there's a lot of corroboration. A lot of different sources are saying that this is what these cards do. So, I'm gonna believe it for now, and I imagine that this is true. But anyway, let's get right to it. Ho-Oh EX and Lugia EX are really interesting because Ho-Oh EX is a fire Pokemon, but its attack requires 3 colorless energy. It does 80 damage, and it looks like it lets you put a fire energy, a water energy, and a lightning energy on one of your benched Pokemon. So it lets you ramp. It's kind of similar to Dialga EX's attack, where it lets you put 2 steel energy on your benched Pokemon. This one lets you put 3 energy of different types on your benched Pokemon. Of course, this does require 3 energy to attack, which is kind of weird. And then we have Lugia EX, which is a colorless Pokemon, but its attack requires a fire, a water, and an electric energy. And it does 180 damage. And then when you use it, you have to discard a fire, a water, and a lightning energy. So very reminiscent of Dragonite EX, although this is a basic. 180 damage right now in the meta is huge. That basically one-shots everything in the meta unless they're holding a cape, which is pretty massive, but of course it requires a lot of setup. And it's really interesting because it does pair really, really well with Ho-Oh EX. But Ho-Oh EX requires 3 energy to attack in the first place, so we'll see how this turns out. I mean, there is a card, I think, that references special energy in the set, and I think special energy, one of the types of special energy is double colorless energy, so maybe we will be getting a double colorless energy in this set, which will help Ho-Oh, and then that can help you power up Lugia, but I don't know, this is a really interesting card. I mean, I feel like they wouldn't put this card in the set if there weren't, easy ways to facilitate it. And obviously Ho-Oh is one way to facilitate it, but at the moment, it doesn't look like an easy way to do that. So I love Lugia, I love Ho-Oh. These cards, it's hard to judge them because we don't know what else is in the set, but judging by just what we know, they're not that great. Then we have Umbreon EX and Espeon EX, which is cool, exciting. Obviously, these are like fan favorite Pokemon. For a long time, Umbreon has been one of my favorite Pokemon and also probably my favorite evolution. I just think it's really cool. And of course, we just got Eevee Grove, which has a lot of cards that benefit Eevees and evolutions. And here we have, Umbreon EX and Espeon EX. Umbreon is kind of broken. So they both, actually, does Umbreon have 160 HP? It's kind of blurry. It looks like it might have 160 HP, or, I mean, that's kind of powerful if it does, whereas Espeon very clearly has 140 HP. And they both require 2 energy of their respective type, and they both do 80 damage for 2 energy, which is okay. Not great, but not awful. However, they both have abilities. Umbreon's is broken. Umbreon's ability is basically Cyrus on a Pokemon, on an ability. And Umbreon does need to be the active Pokemon, but what it does is it lets you bring one of your opponent's damaged benched Pokemon to their active spot. So that's very, very powerful. This feels like it'll pair perfectly with Darkrai EX, which, you know, oh, if we needed more reasons for Darkrai to be good, I could see people playing this with like Greninja, maybe with like Crobat possibly, but yeah, this is just a really, really powerful effect. And even just being able to do 80, like, again, 80 is not insane, but that can, like, two-shot even the bulkier EXs in the meta right now. A lot of them, at least. So, yeah, the ability to just kind of bring something to the front with an ability, you don't even have to use a supporter, like, that's just kind of insane. So, yeah, pretty interesting stuff over here. And then we have Espeon. I think Espeon's ability heals 20 from one of your Pokemon, while Espeon is in the active spot. So that's okay. When you compare it to Umbreon, that's like not that great. But who knows, maybe it'll play out really, really nicely. And of course we have Sylveon EX already, which is one of the best cards in the game because it's basically a Professor's Research. Copies number 3 and 4, and so being able to play it with other Psychic EXs, I mean, that why wouldn't that be good? Then there's Gyarados, Shiny Gyarados, Red Gyarados. Really interesting ability. This one is weird to me. So the translation says it does, 20 plus for 2 water energy, and it does 40 extra damage for each. You can discard any number of benched Pokemon you have, and it does 40 damage for each of those that you discard. If I'm reading that correctly, this is such a weird attack, because if you have a full bench, that's 3 Pokemon, that's plus, 120? So this could do up to 140 damage. I guess this is like a big finisher. Because, yeah, if you discard, 40, 40, 40, that's 120 plus 20 is 140, right? 100, right? It's really early for me, but 140 damage max. But you discard your bench. That's so weird. I mean, I could see some upsides to that, like the ability to... it also looks like they have to be water Pokemon. Is that right? I think they have to be water Pokemon from your bench that you have to discard. That could be interesting if you have some Pokemon on your bench that are low on HP, so that can stop their Cyruses, that can stop their Umbreon EX's abilities. But 130 HP on Gyarados, that can get one shot by a few things in the meta. That gets one shot by Charizard, one shot by Giratina, and it doesn't one shot them back. So, I mean, I guess Giratina would die to its damage from its attack, but that's just a weird situation where it's if you discard your entire bench and then you don't even knock out Charizard and then they knock you out, then you have nothing left, right? So, I don't know. This is one of those cards where it's probably a lot better in practice. There are also interesting cards a few sets ago, we got the Fishnet or whatever it was, which was an item which lets you return a water Pokemon from your discard pile, I think, to your hand. So that could pair really nicely with Gyarados. There's also another Pokemon that I think is kind of interesting that can pair with Gyarados. So I don't know. This is an interesting card. I don't know if it'll be super good, but it's a unique effect, which is always fun to see. Then we've got a couple of baby Pokemon. We've got Pichu and Cleffa. They both have 30 HP. I am being told, and they also have 0 retreat cost, and very importantly, they have attacks. Their attacks require 0 energy to use. So that's also kind of cool. So they're almost like mini abilities, but they have 30 HP. I am told that, and I don't know how correct this is, but these Pokemon, when they're knocked out, they do not give any points, which would make a lot of sense given that they both only have 30 HP, so they die to the weakest attacks in the game. So that would make sense if you don't get any points for knocking them out, because otherwise there'd be 0 reason to run them. So this gives you a reason to actually run them. And they are basic Pokemon as well, so you can find them off of Pokeball and stuff. It looks like Cleffa's ability looks really good. It gets a random Pokemon from your deck and puts it into your hand. So it's basically Shiinotic's ability, but it doesn't require an evolution and it doesn't require any energy. So that sounds really powerful, but I mean, Shiinotic's ability is an ability, which means you don't have to be in the active spot to use it. So that is pretty powerful. And then Pichu, it says take an energy card from your discard pile and attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. That's also pretty powerful, I would say. Although it's hard to envision when you would use it. Cause with Cleffa, you could just put it in the active spot right away and just start using that attack, which is pretty cool. Whereas Pichu, if you put it in the active spot like right away and you don't have any energy in the discard pile, like, I don't know, it's kind of just sitting there, right? So, yeah, it's kind of weird to envision like when you would use Pichu, but I'm sure there will be cases. And then finally, we have a few trainers and tool cards. I'm going to talk about a couple of these. So the silver, it says remove a special energy card from one of your opponent's Pokemon. And again, I think special energies, I don't really play the main TCG, but I think double colorless is a special energy. I think there are a few others as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we get special energies in this game, but it looks like we will be getting them in this set. So double colorless, it adds 2 colorless energy to your Pokemon. So the ability to remove that is pretty powerful, and obviously it'll help power up Pokemon like Ho-Oh, for example. Lyra is a supporter. Choose one of your Pokemon and shuffle it and all cards attached to it into your deck. So this, if the translation is correct, this sounds really, really powerful because you don't even have to return your active Pokemon. It can be one of your benched Pokemon. And this can be really powerful if you're like in a situation where you have a Pokemon that's on the bench that's really weak, and you know your opponent's playing Cyrus, and you know you're about to lose the game if they have Cyrus. There are so many situations like this. And so with Lyra, you can actually just shuffle it away, and then they can't Cyrus you anymore. This ability, like, it's one of those where on paper it sounds not good, like Koga, for example, or Ilima, where you can kind of pick up one of your Pokemon and remove it from the bench or from the active spot. It's actually really, really powerful. Like, the ability to, like, say, for example, you have like a Snorlax, right? A Snorlax EX, which usually has massive retreat costs. The ability to just pick it up and move one of your bench Pokemon into the active spot and like use a really powerful attack or something, that's really strong. And again, the ability to save them as well from being knocked out is also pretty good. So this effect looks really, really powerful. As I always say with these videos, we're getting to a point in the game where we only have 20 cards in these decks, and there are so many cards you can possibly play. So it's getting a lot tighter. I know that sounds weird, but like, Lyra looks like it could go well in almost any kind of deck. But, like, what else? What do I cut for that, right? That's a decision you're going to have to make. I just realized, too, Lyra works really well with, like, Sylveon EX, as if Sylveon needed more of a reason to be good. It's an interesting situation where, like, some decks, like, for example, like the Charizard EX deck right now, which plays Sylveon EX and plays, like, 2 EV, 2 Sylveon EX, and 1 copy of Flareon, mainly for Oricorio. There are situations where you might have, like, both of your EVs on the bench, and then maybe you evolve one of them into Sylveon, and then maybe you need to draw more cards, so you evolve the other one into Sylveon, and Sylveon cannot attack in that deck, so you might get to a situation where you're like, oh, well, I have this Flareon in hand, but both of my EVs are already evolved, so I can never evolve this Flareon. So Lyra also helps with that, where you can like pick up an EV, shuffle it away, and then later on you can replay it and then evolve it into Flareon, or just evolve it into Sylveon again and draw more cards. Not that, if you're playing Sylveon, you don't ever have trouble drawing cards. You're going to draw your whole deck, basically. But yeah, so those are the leaked cards for the new set. I imagine we'll get this trailer, on all channels probably tomorrow in all languages. So we'll have full translations of these cards, and then we probably won't get any other news about this set until it drops. I think it says in the trailer that it's dropping on the 30th, so just about probably a week from when the trailer is supposed to release. And yeah, I mean, that's exciting. Like I said, I love me some Johto. There's probably going to be several other EX Pokemon that we don't know about yet. Like, if you imagine a Johto set, you know there's going to be Lugia Ho EX, and then you can imagine that they're going to be Espeon Umbreon EX because they're fan favorites. I imagine we'll probably get at least one of the starters as an EX. I could see Typhlosion. That would be awesome. I could see all 3, honestly, but there have been situations where they don't give us all 3 right away. But either way, super excited, super hyped. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts. And yeah, what's your favorite Johto Pokemon? Mine is Smeargle, which is also my favorite Pokemon. But I also love Girafarig. I love Murkrow. Houndoom's awesome. Umbreon's cool. Johto's amazing. Have a great one. See you soon.